question to Dr. Narendra Jadhav. How big is the impact of pandemic for India and globally? If there are any size we can put in numbers, and how do you compare it with 2008 crisis, which India successfully overcome?
Yeah. Thank you. At the very outset, let me thank you for a very generous introduction. I want to also say a big thank you to Sanjay, Bhide and the team for having organized this very interesting international conference. Coming to the impact of Corona crisis on the world economy and India, let me start with the global perspective. Everybody knows that Corona crisis is an unprecedented. It is a cataclysmic crisis. This is something which happens once in 100 years. So impact is bound to be very large. But at this stage, it is not possible. All the estimates which are being made, they are all guesstimates and not estimates, because it will take some time to adjudge how much is the impact of this huge crisis. The current indication given by the International Monetary Fund and the World Economic Forum is something like this. The global economy, the world economy as a whole, will contract during the year 2020 by 3%. Out of this 3%, now this is a huge decline, because earlier it was growing at about 3% positively. So there is a swing in the global economy performance by 6 percentage points. That is huge. And this is unprecedented. The 2008-2009 crisis that we were talking about before this massive crisis. Now, this is the global impact. Now, let's talk about individual countries. For the advanced economy, that the group, the decline in the output is the highest. It is expected as of now that there would be a 6 percentage point decline in the advanced economy. And as far as the countries are concerned, the impact would be much smaller for now, for 2020. It shows that, let's take the individual countries. United States, US economy is expected to go down by 5.9%. 6% decline in US economy is huge, incredibly huge. The unemployment rate there is expected to reach a level of 25% of their labor force. This happened last time in the Great Depression of 1930s. So we are talking about a huge impact. As far as India is concerned, this year we are expecting a positive growth rate of 1%, but about the year 21, 2020, our growth rate would definitely be in the negative territory, and it would be minus 5% or thereabout, as it is seen for now. As far as the global trade is concerned, global trade is expected to contract by about 13 to 32 percentage points. Again, this is a huge contraction. Let's take case of the FDI, the foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment would be down by 30 to 40%. Airline passengers traffic is expected to be down by 45 to 80%. Now, again, these are very ugly numbers, and this is what is the global impact. As far as India is concerned, the impact would be relatively muted for this year, for the financial year ending March 31st, because Corona has really hit us in the last month of this financial year. It is in March.
Dr. Jadhav,
seen from the next quarter.
Dr. Jadhav, I have a small question here. How do you compare it with the 2008 crisis, which India successfully managed vis-a-vis as compared to the Western economies, which collapsed to a certain extent at that point of time? How different it is now?
I think this is very good. Impact of any crisis on any economy depends on the preconditions, in the sense that the conditions that prevailed before the onslaught of the crisis, that determines the final impact. As far as the 2009 crisis is concerned, while it devastated the Western economies, it was called global meltdown, if you remember. Similar thing did not happen in India, or happened to a much smaller extent. That is because, not only because of the good policies that were adopted, but it is because we had a fiscal leg room that was available. Our fiscal deficit was already down. So we had fiscal leg room available, and combined with good policies, monetary and fiscal policies, we could get over without announcing any package at that time. So, but in terms of the size, this crisis is several times bigger than the crisis. And let me say this, that India has not been prepared for this big crisis. A, the crisis is much bigger than 2009, and B, India is far less prepared. Why do I say that? For four reasons. One, even before the COVID-19 crisis hit us meaning India, Indian economy was already slowing down.
Yeah.
You know, where growth rate was slowing down. Two, physical health infrastructure in India has not been up to mark until now. And we have been, in spite of all the tall talk, we have been spending only 1% of our GDP on the health sector. Now, so health infrastructure being weak, the impact of the crisis is expected to be much bigger.
Much more. So that's the real problem. The core sectors were not given the importance. We have Richard with us. Dr. Jadhav, early action to lockdown, India did. But today, we have huge economic burden. Plus, the corona infected numbers are also increasing. Was there a very limited choice with the policymakers as we went in for a complete nationwide lockdown in March?
No, I believe that, see, India has come out with a package like most other countries, and the package is of a great size, about 10.5% of our GDP. If you look at other countries, only US and Japan have a bigger size package. Japan has 21% package, US has 13% package, India has 10.5% package, which is not bad at all. Now, this package, please also note that this total amount of 21 trillion rupees is not entirely given out. It can be divided into two parts. Out of this 21 trillion rupees, $13 trillion or lakh crores are given by the government, and the remaining 8 lakh crore or 8 trillion is provided by the Reserve Bank of India in the form of liquidity, in the form of loans, in terms of contingent liabilities like guaranteed and so on. If you look at the budget, the package carefully, it has many very positive things, but this is not the end of it. I believe that this is basically a survival package plus some kind of structural reform. I would imagine that in spite of what the Honorable Finance Minister has been saying, there is a room for more packages in terms of financial sector plumbing that is required, massive reform, as well as we are going to require another package for structural reforms. And this is very, very important. I want to also mention that you were talking about enormous increase in the number of cases. You know, if you make a comparison, the comparison should be not with cases. It should be comparison about the deaths. If you compare the deaths in India as a proportion of, say, 10 million population,
they are pretty less.
One of the lowest. Just to give you a number, bear with me for 1 minute. The world average of corona deaths per 10 million population is 517 for the world. It is 3,415 for United States, and for India, it's only 51. So the problem in terms of death has not been as large. I'm not saying there is any room for complacency, but let's put things in perspective that the Indian government and the Indian people have handled this crisis very well so far.
Yeah, Dr. Jadhav, you have heard Richard Rothman and his views on the manufacturing opportunity for India, the challenges in that, the way the world is going to look at China. Will world look at India as the next manufacturing hub, moving away from China?
Yes, I wish it was, but as Mr. Rothman very rightly said, if we were less prepared at the time before the crisis to attract the diversion of investment into India, we are even less prepared now. This is what Mr. Rothman said. And unfortunately, that is true because if you see the track record in the recent past, the diversion has taken place, but the diversion is going in the direction of Vietnam and other East Asian countries rather than coming to India. India ought to be the obvious choice, but we still have a long way to go in terms of improving the climate for doing business and in terms of ease of doing business. We are on our way, but we are not fully prepared.
Dr. Jadhav, Abdul Diwali.
Very quickly. Again, I agree with Dr. Ajit Ranade about what he has said about MSME. And a lot needs to be done. And the package 2.1, which was announced on 14th May, was exclusively focused on MSME. And that was indeed the right step in the right direction. So that said, we turn to education and health. Now, education and health, although as Dr. Ajit was saying, they are state subjects. While that is true, please understand that many years back, in 1966, for example, Kothari Commission had said that we should be spending 6% of our GDP on education. Believe me, we have never crossed 4% of GDP. Again, about the health, the amount of expenditure that we have taken, in spite of all the talk of, has never been more than 1% of GDP. Even poor countries,
Dr. Jadhav,
spending 2.5%, and we've never gone beyond 1%. That has reflected in a poor health infrastructure, which has aggravated the impact, the adverse impact of the COVID-19 crisis.